to the September 12th Citizens Forum. Ask everyone to please put your cell phones on silent, and let's stand up and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First on the Citizens Forum, Gary C. I can't make out the writing for the last one. Charette.
We inspected my house.
I'm getting old.
Hi, Gary Charette, 1151 South Shore. Actually, I was here just kind of want to see what was going on, but it popped into my head when I was reading that article about all that inclusive park for handicaps, et cetera. And I actually support that. I think it's a great idea. I realize Southport wants us to bail them out because of their little, they're going to do it, then they're not going to do it. And I know there was a recommendation of thinking of Spring Lake, and I kind of don't really think that's a good idea because you think about the access, especially with handicap and the vans, and there's really not parking down there except across the street. So I think that should be rethought. And it's like you keep doing things, and I liken it like Franklin Square. They keep piling stuff on it, and then it's too much. So I think it should be in a separate location where a lot of people have access. It's easy to get to. And I understand there's grant money that was already out there and stuff. So, like I said, I support it. As opposed to, talk the talk and walk the walk. I mean, Southport, I don't know why they bailed out, but they're worried about becoming Myrtle Beach. I'm worried about us becoming Southport, honestly. So I really, it's something that we should really think about, and it's important. And this is a great community here, and it's about being opening to everyone. And so I just figured I'd throw my 2 cents in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Grease.
Mike, 429, I just have a question about the UDO, and if it's accurate on your website about dock sizes on the lake, on Patricia Lake. Is the information on that?
What's on the website, is it current? Yes.
Accurate? Okay, and I have one more question. I noticed the clearing for the town center, and all the discussions about the detour and all. Has there been any consideration in extending Drayton Road to 87 to leave some of that?
There's
It's private.
private property.
Private property.
Private
Yeah,
property?
we actually looked at that when the bypass, when we were having to do the detour. We were like, it'd be nice if we could take it in off of 87.
It's actually
straight
a
to-
driveway now
But-
that's gated.
But with all the construction going on in town now, like I'm from North, so I'm afraid of this place becoming Leland or Cary. That's something that should be considered before building. We should be considering 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road about
Well, that's something
infrastructure
we're telling
and
the
traffic.
builders.
And
We don't want to look like Leland. We want to keep.
with traffic, like that be all the complaints and comments about the detour just for East Boiling Spring Road. That would be a help. But thank you.
Thank you.
That parcel was sold many years ago.
Mm-hmm. Kathy Curtis?
I just am curious. We have this really nice sign that says Bowling Spring Lakes, naturally beautiful. And I moved here from an area that was naturally beautiful and then exploded, Maryland. And so when I moved here, I was thrilled that, there were dirt roads and it was small town. And so I'm really concerned about, how we're going to maintain that small town feel. And if there's a plan of how we are going to, you know, remain naturally beautiful. Are we going to require or even suggest that when you clear cut, that you put back the natural plants for homeowners and for businesses? Is that something that,
It's already set that way.
okay,
The developers will have to come back and put so much native plants, trees. It's set to do the work, but, you know, like I was telling somebody earlier, to bring the food line or whatever grocery store in, you have to get the area cleared, then they'll come back and try to, we want it back to as close to natural landscape as possible. We want to keep that, the feel of, the hometown feel of Bowling Springs.
And you worked really hard on making sure we got rid of a lot of the invasive species and went back to our normal landscaping.
It's in there, yeah, I mean, it's in there, you know, once they finish, you know, when, you know, they got
everything out?
clearing everything out and building everything, then yeah, they gotta put it back, so.
That's very good to hear. So, and I had another question now, I can't remember it. Oh, well. Can't remember, but that's really awesome to hear. So, good, thank you.
Thank you. Herb Glidden?
Yeah, is there any word on the blanket flood rise study as yet?
Yes, I just spoke to the consulting engineers that's conducting that study this week. They're studying a 3-mile section. They're about halfway through it. We're getting some positive results. It looks like about half of the docks in that halfway point are going to require or are not going to require a no-rise certificate. They're going back and working some of the numbers to see if we can increase that total. One of the things that when you're dealing with the state in this particular situation is they don't have a blanket study or a structured study that the city has to go by. We basically use our own study and then submit it to them showing that it will not be a no-rise needed, and then they will accept that from there. So we can kind of manipulate it a little bit to show the no-rise, but hopefully we're going to have that completed by sometime in the next week, which will probably mean I'll get it by the end of next month.
Very good.
And can we see more pictures of the Big Lake Dam, possibly how far they're coming along? I haven't seen a drone shot of that in quite some time.
So I can do that, but to print those pictures out front, it's very expensive on the copier that we have. So I'll try to provide as many as I can.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
And that's all I have that are signed up.
If anyone would like to ask a question, just say your name and your address and ask away. Come on up to the counter though, so that the people, it's on Facebook so that they can hear you.
Address this to Gary. Laura Bussey, 1066 Fenimore. I have no idea what you were talking about.
So Tuesday, we had discussed, it was brought to our attention about an inclusive park that was supposed to take place in Southport, but they were unable to fulfill those needs. So our city manager met with some other local officials, including the county manager, to find a place where they could put an inclusive park.
That helps, but that's okay.
So several weeks ago, all the regional, well, not all the regional, but the local regional city managers and town managers met. Southport was wanting to do a inclusive playground over at Taylor Field, and it was actually supposed to be phase 2 of Taylor Field. I won't get into the dynamics of why Southport wouldn't move forward with it, but they do have some grant funding lined up for it. And so when we met, we were all tossing about ideas about where a inclusive playground could be located somewhere in this region. And so I can't speak for the board, so I brought it to the Board of Commissioners meeting. They were supportive of it. They were not supportive of it at Spring Lake Park. I've been working with our Assistant City Manager, Nicole Morgan, to identify some areas that we're going to bring to the next Board of Commissioners meeting that might work a little better for an inclusive playground. But they did support it, and one of the things that I've communicated to the other city managers, it has to be 100% grant funded. They have to help participate in the maintenance of the playground, and they have to help contribute to the cost of the increased insurance cost. So we're not out there all by ourselves. We just can't afford to do it out by ourselves. So once we come down to a location that are willing to host it at, I will communicate that back to the Southport city manager, and then we'll move forward from there.
Thanks very much.
And just so the inclusive playground is a playground for everyone, developmentally challenged. And not only for children, but for adults to spend time with their children. It's a real positive thing for a community. Does that help out a little better?
Yes, I appreciate the full explanation. I've not heard anything about it.
To follow up on the Paul Brusso, 1811 Pinehurst Road. To follow up on this inclusive park, I've been thinking about it since the last meeting you had. And there were some reservations that nobody wanted to discuss, which I guess I can respect. But the thought I had was, has the new, for a better term, the golf course clubhouse property been considered that you just purchased for about $500,000 to make into a park or something for the community? I mean, that would be a great place. You got to develop it anyhow.
That's on the waterfront,
Yes.
and that's,
Flag Park's on the waterfront.
and that's why we shut down Spring. We want to keep it away from the water when you're dealing with all-inclusive. I mean, for safety, and there's other plans for that golf course property that we're waiting for different. Well, first of all, the golf course is still using it right now. They're still renting it, but we want to get ideas to use it for our city coming forward.
And I think we all, when
Well,
we
you
have
just said
that
you just said you want to get ideas, but then you said there were other plans. So that's two different things.
Well, I mean, it's a concept. Everything's in a concept stage, okay? We'd love to see a big event center there like Southport has on the waterfront. That raises about $206,000 a year for Southport. That would be some good revenue coming into the city of Bowling Springs. We're trying to do things that will benefit our city, yet bring money into our city.
Understandable, but you did say two different things.
Well, everything is in concept. I mean, we're still throwing around ideas. I mean, there's been ideas of a boat ramp, there's been ideas of all different types of things. And there's nothing that's really been talked about or set, and there's nothing set. It's all concept right now.
So these ideas and different thoughts you're having and different concepts you're having, other than having a big event center, has that been shared with the community so we know that, or has it just been shared in your emails?
We're still, this is still quite a ways away. This is still a property that's rented by the golf course. So, we don't even have sewer down there. You're gonna have to have sewer to put anything of any significance down there. That's 5 years down the road. So this is, I say 5 years down the road.
None of us might be sitting up here and it might be.
Yeah,
Up
I
to
mean,
next
there's a
board.
lot that has to happen for that property to be used. We just wanted to acquire it for this city because it's a wonderful piece of property for this city to use at some point in time for whatever the whatever board sitting here decides at that time.
In keeping in mind, you paid that $500,000 for it, and you're gonna probably invest $1 million plus to put whatever you want on it. So just keep in mind that when you say you've got grant funding, that will pay the whole 9 yards.
The grant funding was, the Southport, I think, has the grant for the park they're talking about. I mean, and my concept was, when we're looking at purchasing that property, was for income, to have some type of income generating, whatever we have there should be income generating to the city. And I think that's why we kind of looked at it, plus it's gonna be worth a lot more when the lake comes back, I would hope, so.
And that grant's not transferable, and I think
Yeah, I
people
don't
don't
think-
understand that. So the city of Southport got the grant for the inclusive park. It's not transferable to, it's like a whole nother application to go through for that. It's just us willing to say, yes, we want it.
Well, just wanted to throw it out there because, I mean, you have got that piece of property down there. You did pay that $500,000 plus for it, and it's sitting there. I think it should be.
There a while.
Okay. One other thing I want to say, because this has been kind of burning at me for a while, and I've bit my tongue for quite a while. All of these closed executive session meetings where, and the title is economic development. What is so closed that the public can't hear about that? For example, closed economic meetings where you buy parcel of land to put a road for the public works. Closed executive meetings where you make a deal to buy the clubhouse property. Closed executive meetings to deal with the development over here. Why can't the people hear this? I did speak to one of the persons in front of me recently and asked that person, why? They said, well, we're just gathering information. There's been no decisions made at those. There's no decisions made at those. Well, I think there's some decisions made behind the closed doors. Okay, but why can't you share that information with the community prior to coming here?
Every one of those.
No, I'm talking.
Okay.
Prior to coming here and asking the Board of Commissioners to purchase a piece, 3 acres of land for $100 million, for $500,000.
It was on the agenda.
Yeah.
It was put out.
Yeah, but why can't that information, while you're, talking to
Well-
Steve White or whoever it is you're talking to, why can't it be out there so people can interact and propose and talk that night? Exactly. We'll talk about the golf course. There was quite a few people that stood up here and said, we don't need that. We don't need that. And it went through.
Well, you gotta understand this too. When you're dealing with stuff like that, he gave the city a really good purchase on that property. It was to be sold for $750 in the open market. We don't want people to know we're getting ready to move on it and scoff it up at $750 and get it away from the city. We wanted that property to come to the city because that property there is foundation of Bowling Springs. That golf course and that lake, that's all foundation of the city. And we're trying to keep foundation of the city in place. We really are.
Okay, I just wanted to bring it out there. I think the transparency of this city could be a lot better than it is.
Thank you.
Barbara Glidden, 402 North Shore Drive. You just set something off in my head. When you guys give you the agenda and it says we're going to vote on section 2.3, whatever it is, the average person doesn't know what you're talking about. Now, I'm not saying, but when I was on board, we kind of just gave you a little explanation of what we were talking about, what we were going to vote on, how we were going to change it. Because the average person sitting out here, they don't read the agenda, they don't go to building 2.67, whatever the heck it is. So just give a little bit more information so that people feel that they're participating and they understand what you're voting on. Okay? My other thought was, on this all-inclusive park, which I think is wonderful, especially if it has for older folks to go and do exercises, which we know there are equipment for that. and I understand the Spring Lake. What about the lot across the street? I hardly see anybody at that garden, which it was supposed to be a moneymaker. You bought your little plot, you did your thing, you shared your vegetables. I personally, when I go by, which isn't too often because of the detour, but why not put it like over there? The parking, you know, if you have a concert, you have a few cars parked there. You can make it accessible for wheelchair. I mean, it's like a blank slate, really, if you really wanted to put it. Plus, people who are at the lake with their kids can walk them across the street and go into a park.
Unfortunately, that's a flood zone, and so.
Could I address that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So yes, unfortunately, it's a flood zone because there's water there, but the bigger problem is because you can develop in a floodplain. You can't develop in a floodway, right? We know that with the docks, and we're having all those issues with the docks. For that particular area, there is what's called a non-encroachment zone. So when FEMA doesn't map an actual floodway, there's different studies, right, that are treated just like a floodway. So that particular piece of property where the community garden is a non-encroachment area. So that's treated just like a floodway. So any development, again, requires a whole no-rise study. The fence that's there, that's fine, you know, the water would just pass right through. But if you're looking to put a permanent structure there, you're gonna have to go through that whole process of proving that there's a no-rise.
But it's a piece of property I mean, it was always supposed to be a soccer field. Neighbors put that down because they didn't want the noise of the kids yelling and, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
long time. The garden was supposed to be quiet. And it was, and it worked out a couple of years, but.
Only a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Didn't get my hope, but that's what it was for. But I just thought that would be, and maybe not that spot, but somewhere in that piece of property.
That entire piece of property is in a non-encroachment. Yeah, because, and I can tell you that because they've come to me with the community garden wanting to put some other structures there, so I've had to do the studies, so.
I just thought that would be a perfect place for another park.
Yeah.
The kids could go.
It would be a good location if it wasn't for that.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Alita Brusso, 1811 Pinehurst. So I'm just going to piggyback off what she just said about people not understanding whatever the UDO and all that. I'm kind of a geek person, so I really like computers and I don't mind getting emails and all that. And so I'm on the email list here for the city, but I only hear once a quarter. I think that is a huge tool to reach out to people that aren't on Facebook. Not everyone does Facebook, and I don't blame them. But I think you could do more with your email list that you have, or even just promote it more to get more people on there. So if there's something coming up like this meeting, you can send out an email the day before saying, hey, this meeting's going to be happening. I'm on the email list for Southport, Oak Island, all around, because I like to know what's going on around, not just in this community. And I am so impressed with how they handle their email. I mean, even during the storm Debbie there, I got no less than 8 emails from Oak Island letting people know what's going on there. I got nothing from this city. We got maybe one Facebook post from the police department saying what roads were closed. But I don't even know if that was ever updated. And we come through the detour, and if we had to go, say, down a Dozier or something, we wouldn't know if those roads were flooded or whatnot. And so I'm just really encouraging doing more with that email list, because you've already got it. You've got an autoresponder for it. I say use it more.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
So do you participate in our Code Red program?
I do.
Did you not receive constant updates from us during Tropical Storm Debbie?
I got a couple. I mean, I just didn't,
It wasn't a lot.
it wasn't a lot. Maybe it's because I live way on the other end of the detour, I don't know.
That
But it
shouldn't
shouldn't
matter.
matter. But you know, I think it would be just a good tool to use for this community is to You know, and it doesn't have to be 8 times during a week or whatever. But you know, like, if you've got a meeting coming up, why not throw that out there in an email? It doesn't take long. I do emails for our business, so I know. And you've already got the autoresponder to automatically, you've got the whole list of people. Write up a quick email saying, hey, this is the, events or what's coming up this week. I mean, every organization in this city could use that, like Parks and Rec have something going on, Senior Center, you know what I mean? Just, I think you're not utilizing that tool, and I think it's a huge tool that should be used. That's all.
Thank you for bringing it.
Thank you.
Can we look at that?
Just wrote it down.
All right, thank you.
Hello, Stacy, 226 Harper Lake Drive.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. What'd you say? Stacy Willets, 226 Harper Lake Drive.
Is there any idea of when we might get rid of the extra vehicle fee from the DMV? Is there like a time frame? Is it indefinite? The $25 that we're paying for every vehicle that we register?
I eventually would like to see that go away.
So is there is there a
It's
sunset for it?
it's not been in discussion, not anytime soon.
Because we did raise the taxes to pay for the dam, so I would assume.
No, we did not.
So there's no sunset for this vehicle fee?
Not that I'm
Heard
aware of.
I think we
or
get
it's
about
been-
35,000. I can't remember now. I used to know how much we got a year for it, but I don't even remember now. So we had to replace that in the budget. But
Because I have 3 driving kits, so it's expensive. And then the other thing is, we just got our taxes for our property, and with the new fire building, the fire went up, and we're on a double lot, and we got charged for 2 fire fees. Is that normal? One house on a double lot, 2 fire fees?
I don't know
I
that.
thought it was based on square footage building.
is the lot combined?
I can text her.
It's a combined lot, and because I have 3 properties in BSL, and my double lot house has a double fire fee.
I've got the same thing. I didn't look. I need to check that one. I didn't.
And just so you know, we don't have anything to do with the fire fee. That's not the city.
Board of Commissioners don't.
No, they're completely
They're a separate entity.
That's the county.
We didn't raise taxes at all this year. We stayed just where we were, and, but they went up 10% plus whatever the cost.
Usually the fire fee was $100, now it's $200 a lot, so I'm assuming it was because of the new building.
I would advise to reach out to the county on that one, to the tax office.
This
And
is BSL fire, so go to the county.
sure, but the fire fee or the fire tax, whatever you want to call it, the county handles that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did text Teresa and asked her.
Good.
So hopefully I'll have an answer in a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Henning Gooding, 1844 Boiling Spring Lakes Road. This is my first meeting.
Welcome.
Welcome.
And for you, as far as the woodpeckers and cutting down trees, you have to have permits to cut down any trees, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What areas are considered, for the woodpeckers, the endangered? Is there some lots that have to be checked out to see if they're woodpecker trees, or how does that?
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Nicole.
They're scattered. There's no one individual part of the city where I can tell you, okay, that's a woodpecker zone. Fish and Wildlife has 2 different areas. One is what they call a foraging area, and then they have cluster areas. Clusters are where there are active cavity trees. Foraging areas, they say, is a half a mile radius outside of that. However, if you look at the map, it's kind of weird. There is information on our website. If you go to, I believe, the frequently asked questions page, there's a question there about woodpeckers, and you can click that link. You can always check by parcel number to see whether or not that particular lot is in a blue or a red zone. If it's green, it does not require approval from Fish and Wildlife. If it's blue or red, it does. Does not mean Fish and Wildlife won't approve it. I honestly have yet to see them not approve the removal of the trees. It's just a process
Oh,
that they go through. Our department here, the planning department, if it's in a woodpecker zone, make sure that we have confirmation from Fish and Wildlife that yes, they can remove the tree or the trees. Outside of that, we have our own ordinance. So any tree 8 inches or larger needs a permit from us regardless of whether or not it's in a woodpecker area. And then there's guidelines on how close the tree has to be to your home or your septic or your driveway.
How often is that the map updated for the woodpeckers? Is it like every 5 years?
Wildlife has not done an update. I've been here on 7 years. I haven't seen a new update in 7 years. Every once in a while, they might find a new cavity tree. They won't necessarily update the map, but they'll tell us, hey, you know, these few parcels are now blue or red. Those updates get made as soon as we find out about them. So what's on the website right now is current.
How long does it take them to come out to, if you're in one of the blue or?
They don't come out.
Do they-
Doesn't come out.
Well, who checks to see if you're in question trees on your lot? If they're in question, I thought,
If they're in question for our ordinance,
well,
So
the
we do-
wildlife, the woodpeckers, the endangers of the woodpeckers, doesn't somebody have to come out to check before you cut down the trees?
we go out to check to make sure that it's in our ordinance guidelines. Obviously, if we're out there and we see a cavity, we're gonna tell Fish and Wildlife. But it's Fish and Wildlife's responsibility to maintain it's not our requirement, that's a federal requirement for those birds. So that's their responsibility to come out here and check for new cavity trees or see if there's any changes. But we have a code enforcement officer that does go out and do tree inspections anytime somebody's requesting a permit. I'm sorry if I was confusing.
No. I guess that's it on that. Another question, as far as burning goes, you cannot burn any yard debris in Boiling Spring Lakes?
You can burn yard debris, you can't burn construction materials, anything over is it 4? I think it's
4 inches.
4 inches.
There's some things in there that you're not allowed to burn. The burning ordinance is basically for yard debris, so, but nothing over 4 inches. Yeah.
And what do you have to burn in? Is there any I mean,
You have to get a permit online, and then it's automated. So someone's not clicking whether or not the weather is right so you can burn. It's automated in that sense. You can go on there, fill it out, you have your burn permit. So if anybody comes and questions you, it's there. But it also has the rules, regulations on that. So every time I need one, I just Google BSL burn permit, go right to it. If I'm not allowed to burn, I'm not allowed to burn. It's just one of those things.
And it saves the fire department time. If they do get a call, they'll have that permit application handy. So they'll say, oh, we got a call for.
Yeah, it goes right into their computer system.
But they already have a burn permit. So if a neighbor calls and says, oh, they're burning, they can explain to them that there's a burn permit been
The fire
issued.
department's regulations are separate from our ordinance, though, and I'd like to keep that in mind. So if the fire department goes out there and you have a burn permit, that's one thing. But when you get a burn permit, it's gonna tell you what the requirements are. So, for example, if you're doing open burning, you have to be at least 50 feet from a structure. That's not something the fire department's looking for when they go out there. But your burn permit would have said, you can't burn this, it's not applicable, this permit, unless you're more than 50 feet away from a structure. So keep in mind, what's written on the permit is all the regulations, yeah.
Yeah, Anto hose and
Charge
water source.
Thank you.
Thank you.
else.
So one, I wanted to agree with several people that said that I think the communication could be enhanced. There's a city clean sweep, but that word is really difficult to get out, so we tend to have a kind of a low number. And it would be good to have that, those types of things via email out. My mom is 83. She lives here. She doesn't do Facebook, but she would do email, to get notification of things. And I also follow like Oak Island and Southport and get really good communication there. So that's just a suggestion there. The other thing is, I can't remember who mentioned it, but it was about the property on the Big Lake that you guys bought. And then you said it'll be 5 years before sewer goes in, or more?
It's
or
still in
less?
planning phase. It's a $75 million project right now, so
Yeah.
it's
Get it.
a
So-
ways out.
Yeah. So is that similar for the town center? For sewer?
There's sewer on 87, you know that, right? All the way down. So they have sewer.
Like the school has sewer, so
Okay,
everybody on the 87 corridor has access.
gotcha. That's what I was like, how is that happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's
So
it.
that's got to be upgraded for us to start, there's a lot of moving parts to that whole thing.
But we are working on it.
But we're working on it and trying to get free money from the state, federal, wherever we can find it.
But the representatives, though, seem interested, all of them. Rouser, Miller, all of them seem interested in us getting this project off the ground. So I think we'll have the help once we can tell them what we want and need.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Two more questions. Where are we with the dam timeline? I'll never call you a liar if something changes. The bond issue yet? The bond. I'm just curious where we are.
The bond was approved.
I know the bond was approved, but have we gotten,
Need it, and
that's what I mean, yes.
can't imagine that we would need it.
Okay,
That's kind of
Yeah.
that dead, yeah.
Yeah, we got a backup $8 million to
Make
Cover
sure we
that.
didn't use it.
no, I understand that, that's good. And the timeline?
July of 2026.
So I was wondering, is that an honest timeline, or is that, you're just not
That's
wanting
when the
to?
project is supposed to be substantially completed.
And is that where we are?
No.
Again, I will never
After I
call you a
said-
liar, I
after I-
understand shit happens.
After I said that East Bowling Spring Road was going to be open in October contingent on the weather,
I understand, I'm
and
not,
now
I'm never
it's been
gonna,
pushed back, I'm never going to say
I'm
anything.
never gonna say anything
No,
again, but
just-
in the next two meetings, you guys have said it's cheaper to build a dock before the lake is in, and if you, not you personally, but if you're afraid to be called a liar,
No, seriously, I'll tell you,
and, you know, and then people don't have time to put their dock in before the lake gets in.
okay.
I mean, Mike Rice, 429 South Shore Drive, will never call you a liar if something happens because the dam is delayed.
So Upper Lake, Pine Lake, and North Lake are ahead of schedule. The overall project is ahead of schedule. I don't think that you'll see this project go into 2026. And so, as I spoke earlier about the no-rise certifications, we should have some good news on that for the people that it's going to be good news for by the end of the month. And then once we have those no-rises in place, y'all can go ahead and get started redoing your docks. So I think there's still enough time there for you to rebuild the docks. The project is ahead of schedule and it's going along really well.
Thank you. I will never call you a liar if something.
But you know what? It's all contingent on weather. We did suffer a setback to Tropical Storm Debbie. We lost our diversion ditch.
No, I
on
understand
Saturday.
that.
Yeah,
We're
so,
still
you know,
midway through hurricane season this year.
And so, you know, there's a lot of things that could happen between now and then.
Said the H word.
Can I ask another question?
Sorry. You see, these are good because something jogs your memory to say, oh, wait a minute. and again, sometimes you can't hear everything, but didn't you say that the city would be responsible for the upgrade of the sewer line through the city and maybe another pump station or something to that effect?
I don't recall that.
Okay, so who is responsible?
So
The county, right?
we're talking about this project is for the sewer expansion is going to be in 2 phases. The first part is the transmission system. The transmission system are the lift stations or pump stations, whichever one you want to call it. Right now, we have a lift station on Cougar Road that's going to need to be upgraded. And in order to provide sewer to the northern part of the community, we're going to have a north central pump station, main pump station over here. There's not one there now, so we'll have to build that.
Okay, now when you say we,
The city.
city, now when we first had this sewer line come down, we, as property owners, had to pay to hook up, correct? But the county ran the line, not the city. And who gets the money when I pay my bill for the sewer goes to the county, not to the city. So how could we ever recoup that money when the city's going to build, or the city is going to build the guy up north?
So right now, we're looking at all grant funding for this project. One of the biggest problems that we have is the assessments that we don't want to put on the residents that live in the community. And so what happens is in our conversations with the county is we have to build it. We have to pay for the grant funding. Well, whether we eventually end up getting the grant money or have to go a different direction, it's really too early to say right now because we've just started exploring for the grant funding. But at the end of the day, once we build it, let's say it's some combination of grant, loan, whatever it would be, we're going to turn it over to the county and let them operate it. The city does not want to be in the sewer business because it's too expensive for a municipality of our size to operate a sewer system.
But
Regionalization.
The line that came through years and years and years ago, the city put it in, the city paid for it, we all paid our share, and then they gave it over to the county.
I can't address that. I wasn't here.
But I'm saying it's the same thing now with the sewer. If you're gonna pay to put the line in or put the, whatever it is, treatment plant or whatever you have to do, it's, even though it's grant money, it's still the city doing it or paying for it or maybe taking partial loan. And then we give it over to the county and the county reaps the benefit. Right? Is that?
Yeah, exactly right. But here's the
Our
problem with
system,
that.
They started it and they took the loan out. I think it was like $4 million back then. And they started it and took the loan out and started the program, and then they turned it over to the county. So the county assumed that $4 million debt.
No.
No.
Some of it came.
So I don't know how much, but I looked at all that paperwork and it was.
But that, when they had these meetings about this water system, it was gonna be the cities, we had 2 employees, we had trucks, we had all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, bingo, it went over the county and the county reaped the benefits from our water bills. And that's why when I heard this, I'm saying, well, when they put the pipe down the 87, I paid to get on it twice. And then the county gets my payments to help pay for that. And really, the sewer thing was a big controversy because we knew that they weren't putting a big enough pipe, but the answer was, well, you don't have enough slush or whatever you call it to go through. And a bigger pipe, which was, county knew we were growing, which is stupid.
This particular board that is sitting right here today does not want to put an assessment on the residents of BSL for a $78 million sewer system. And they just, it's going to be cost prohibitive. It is just not reasonable to ask. I mean, we've done some rough orders of what those numbers would be like, and the average person couldn't afford it. And so, that's why we're looking at grant money. If it has to be loan, but that's the direction that we'll go. But the trend in sewer systems today is to regionalize because it's going to be a whole lot less money when we turn it over to the county for them to operate that system and the wastewater treatment plant than what we can operate it for. It's the economies of scale. I'll give you an example. Of course, it hadn't finished flushing itself out, but over at Southport, the county just took over their sewer system and their water system. And Southport, their water and sewer fees are just phenomenally high. By going with the county, those prices are going to be about half the cost once this whole thing ends up flushing itself out. And it'll be a higher level of service for a lower amount of money. Just because the more people you have on the system, you can spread that cost out. But I will tell you that that's why we're going to turn it up. We don't have the capacity to operate lift stations and that. The county does. Why would we duplicate those services? And again, to your point is this board, I can't speak for future boards. They don't want to put the burden of paying for this because we could do that. And we could all get run out of town. So.
And going back to the $25 fee, when that was passed, it was supposed to only be for a few years. And my quote was, once a city taxes you, they never give you back money. Which, you know, I don't know where the money's going. Is it going into the roads? If it's going into our roads, that's fine and dandy, but if it's not, I always thought the power bill money went into the roads. I don't know about this $25, but it is what it is.
It does go, it's on that page.
It does all the palms.
It's right under, yeah.
Anyone else?
The last one, we're on.
Any ideas on when they're going to clear North Lake again? I mean, it was cleared last year, but it's back up.
So one of the things we've been concentrating on is since Tropical Storm Debbie is we've been able to identify some trouble spots with our stormwater. We've been diligently working on getting those spots cleared up in case we had another rainfall. I have communicated to the Public Services Superintendent that I want them to start working on North Lake and Pine Lake again. The game plan is once those 3 dams are completed, I've asked the contractor to go ahead and impound those lakes prior to the completion of Sanford Dam. And the primary reason for that is to prevent the further growth of that growth down there, the vegetative matter down on the lake bed.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I got you, thank you.
Just curiosity minds wants to know about the lady that asked about the fines for the vehicles that it's supposed to go to the roads. How would you find out where that money's going? She said,
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's in the budget. You can see it. Shows income.
and where, does it go to the roads and it would show how much goes to the roads on the budget sheet? Where do you find those? I'm all new to
You
this.
find our budget if you go to our website and go to finance, and then if you click on finance, it'll come down and it'll show the 24-25 budget that we just passed.
Okay.
So you can go in there and look in revenues and you'll see it. So, yes.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Everyone good? Motion to adjourn?
Stacy, I'm gonna get with you before you leave. Okay. You just motioned to adjourn.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I get a second?
Well, it got cold in here.
I guess Dean gave a second.
It feels good.
It is cold in here now.